Yo, what's up guys? You got pokeaim here with another Pokemon Sword and Shield moveset video guide on how to use Arctovish. Now, I do want to note that when this Pokemon's hidden ability comes out, which is Slush Rush, you can replace all the water absorb sets with Slush Rush, and it'll most likely be better depending on the team itself. But obviously, if you're using it on a Hail team, Slush Rush will be better. However, at the moment, it only has Water Absorb and Ice Body as abilities, which is what we will be focusing on. So, a few things about this Pokemon. Obviously, the Dracozolt and Dracovish are just better, right? They're better than Arctovish and Arctozolt. Mainly because they're faster and they have more chances to actually get off their attacks, which makes them stronger as well. Obviously, hustle on Arctozolt as well is a big thing. I'm sorry if you heard the honking outside. I can't really do much about that. But the cool thing is this Pokemon does have access to Fishious Rend, and Water Absorb actually isn't that bad of an ability in lower tiers as well. So the first set we'll be talking about is a Choice Band set. You'll be maximizing your speed on this with the Jolly Nature, as well as going for max attack. Max speed allows you to outspeed most forms of Jellicent in the UU tier, as well as just outspeeding just lower base speed mons like a Rakwanid, for instance, or anything around that actual speed tier. Fishious Rend is the move you're going to be clicking most. Fishious Rend is actually doubled in power if the user moves first, so it goes from 85 base power to 170 base power, not to mention stab and whatnot. So it's really strong. The big thing is though, you have to move before your opponent, or they have to switch out. Like if they switch out on a Fishious Rend, the Pokemon coming in, it technically counts as you moving before them, because you're already moving, they haven't even clicked an attack yet. So that also does double the damage. But another cool thing about this Pokemon is that it's a water and ice type, so it has stab on that Fishious Rend, as well as Ice Wheel Crash, which is a very strong, good ice type attack. And then from there, it doesn't really benefit that much from the rest of its moves. Dracovish has Strong Jaw to actually boost moves like Psychic Fang and Crunch, whereas Arctovish only has Water Absorb, which does make it a nice check to Inteleon though. Don't get me wrong, base 90 HP and base 90 special defense plus Water Absorb is really nice. Also resisting Ice Beam too. So it's a nice little check to Inteleon if your team is weak to that in the lower tiers. But Crunch gives you a way of actually 2-hit KOing Jellicent with Rocks Up with a Choice Band. And also Psychic Fangs allows you to hit maybe potentially Pokemon like, if you're using it in higher tiers, Toxapex, right? It's just good versus Toxapex, strong versus fighters as well. For the most part with this Pokemon, if you are able to, you want to click Fishious Rend. That's it. But yeah, maximizing your attack, maximizing your speed. Now this Pokemon, because it is only base 55 speed, you can still use the same set on a Trick Room team. And that would require you to run a Brave Nature as opposed to the Jolly Nature on the last set. But it'd be Brave Nature, maximizing your attack so it'll be stronger, as well as maximizing your HP and minimizing your speed, right? With Brave Nature, you want to be as slow as possible. So if you can get a 0 speed IV on your Arctovish, fantastic. Because under Trick Room, slower Pokemon move first, which is great with a Choice Band and Fishious Rend, which gets doubled in power if you move before your opponent. If you go before your opponent. So again, the set is the exact same thing. This one will need more Trick Room support. In terms of Trick Room support with this, you probably want to run, obviously, Trick Roomers. Bronzong is a pretty good one. If you're using in higher tiers, Hatterene can also work out too. And as well as maybe like an Indeedee, a Mew potentially. Mew will also give you hazards and whatnot. This Pokemon is an ice type, so it's weak to Stealth Rock. So hazard control can help you out as well when using Arctovish, right? So Avalugg, if you're using it on a Hail team as well, you don't even have to use potentially Water Absorb. You could use Ice Body on a Hail team to heal a little bit during the Hail, but I wouldn't so much. I think Water Absorb is just basically nice. But if you're using it on a Hail team with like the Ice Cream Cone, so Vanillix, Avalugg, and Arctovish, that could work as its own thing, and Avalugg can get rid of the hazards due to Rapid Spin. Now the next set is a Choice Scarf version of Arctovish, and you might be thinking, well, it's base 55 speed, with a Jolly Nature, it only hits 229. Is Choice Scarf even worth? Now, you'd be right to think that, for sure, and I was thinking the exact same thing at first, but I've used this thing with Choice Scarf and Sticky Web. It's a really big shame that I have to use Sticky Web just for my Choice Scarf user to outspeed Pokemon like Gengar, but it's a threat. It is a threat versus offense, right? Gengar hits, I think, like 233 speed after Sticky Web, which is, again, just faster than you being Jolly. But if you're running a Choice Scarf, you hit 300 and 43 speed, if I'm not mistaken, with this Pokemon at level 100 with a Jolly Nature. And this allows the outspeed, a Gengar that has hit Sticky Web as long as it's not Choice Scarf. And versus offense, this Pokemon can be very threatening, right? Think of Dracovish versus offense as well. When you're faster than your opponent, obviously it hits a lot less hard, but a lot of offensive threats are relatively frail, right? So Gengar will go down to Fishious, Rend. Pokemon like Phalanx wouldn't appreciate it at all. Drapion wouldn't appreciate it at all. So, like, just offensive Pokemon in general. Also being fast and like Haxorus and being able to threaten that thing with an Icicle Crash too. So, whereas Choice Scarf doesn't sound like the best option, still having a speed tier that outspeeds Drapion, Haxorus. There was another mon that I was just about to mention that I completely forgot. Arcanine. Before I can Will-O-Wisp you or anything like that. So, it can actually make it pretty decent. And obviously you still have the Icicle Crash, the Psychic Fangs, and the Crunch. For the most part, you want to click Fishious Rends, and you click Icicle Crash when you need to. I don't think Choice Scarf will be clicking Crunch too much. I do think that Aurora Veil can be slashed on one of these sets, potentially, especially if you're using it on a Hail team, so you can definitely slash Aurora Veil on the Choice Scarf set. I would say that the most useless move would probably be Psychic Fangs, so you can slash Aurora Veil on that if you want a Scarfer or even just a Pokemon in general, like any set on Arctovish that can set up the dual screens for your team. But in terms of teammates with this, as I mentioned, Sticky Web is very important. So Ribombee is a big one that comes to mind. Ribombee is a great Sticky Webber. It also threatens the spinners and whatnot with strong attacks like Moonblast. For example, Avalugg is threatened by Moonblast for a 2-8 KO. It can Stun Spore as well, Pokemon like Gengar, so that Arctovish obviously appreciates a Gengar being Stun Spored, allowing it to be faster than it. And also it can threaten something like Claydol, like a Rabbit Spinner with Bug Buzz. And of course, Arctovish also pairs really well with it too, because Arctovish threatens Colossal as a spinner, right? So being able to threaten a spinner with Fishious Rend is really, really nice. Again, on Sticky Web teams, I think Gengar is a great offensive partner as well. Not only does it provide strong special attacks for the physical walls that Arctovish cannot break through, but it also provides a ghost type that can block Rapid Spin from Pokemon like Avalugg. And we actually have another set for Arctovish that can actually deal with Avalugg to an extent. But yeah, normally Avalugg would be able to deal with Arctovish, take hits, and just threaten it with Body Press. But the next set we have is a Life Orb mixed Arctovish, and it has Fishious Rend, Freeze Dry, Icicle Crash, and Surf. And with 16 special attack EVs and a naive nature with Surf, you can actually 2-hit KO Avalugg. Guaranteed. For the most part, they always run heavy duty boots, so they're not running leftovers. You do 50% to 59% with Life Orb Surf. It's stronger than Fishious Rend. And then you have Freeze Dry there, be able to threaten Pokemon if you're playing in the higher tiers. Seismitoad for a KO because it's 4 times effective on Seismitoad. I guess Ludicolo as well if you're playing in lower tiers, or even Gastrodon as well. It does like 91 to 108, I believe, to max HP Gastrodon. So with a Spike Up, it's a guaranteed kill. With Stealth Rock, the roll is more so in your favor. But other than that, you also have your Fishious Rend, which is the move you're going to be clicking for the most part, and Freeze Dry. So this can also work on Sticky Web teams, but keep in mind, without a Choice Scarf, Arctovish is not that fast. It's just unfortunately not that fast, even with Sticky Web up. So these guys really did get the short end of the stick. Like, it kind of sucks because the other two are just so much better, right? And then even Arctazult has Stab Bolt Beam, which is so cool. But either way, Arctovish can still do its thing, and I think Freeze Dry is a pretty big thing. And I just want to talk about a few movesets that might potentially work when it's a hidden ability gets released. Obviously, I talked about Slush Rush, so I would use that on all the Water Absorb sets unless your team specifically needs something to switch in on water. Assault Vest is an option that I've also seen on Arctovish as well, considering, and these don't have specific sets, but I'm just going to talk. But considering it does have base 90 HP and base 90 special defense, it's actually a pretty good special wall. Being able to deal with Pokemon like Gengar. Obviously, though, being weak to Stealth Rock is something you want to worry about. As I mentioned already, it does have access to Aurora Veil. But a few of the cool things it can do is like Whirlpool sets with Substitute and whatnot. When this thing eventually gets toxic, if it does eventually get toxic, that'd be great too. And Super Fang is also a really nice support set. So maybe like, something I'd run if I wanted to try like an Aurora Veil. And again, I'm not making a specific set just because I think there are better Aurora Veil mons like Vanillix, which just sets up the Hail itself and can do it. But basically, a Hail with Light Clay, right? You'd run Light Clay that way. When you get up Aurora Veil, it has maximum turns. Hail plus Light Clay, maybe with like Ice Body or Slush Rush. and then from there you go like Super Fang plus Fishious Rends, right? So a more support mon that still has Fishious Rends, and then it has Slush Rush as well to outspeed you. That way your Fishious Rends is still stronger. But for now, this is what I run on Arctovish, either Choice Band, Choice Scarf, or Life Orb mixed sets of sort. But that's about it. In terms of how you deal with it, it's very slow. So strong fighting types that are faster than 229 speed, for the most part, can help out. You got Phalanx, you got Conch Elder, you got so many mons in the UU tier in itself, man. Surfetch might not be faster, but that mon is bulky enough to tank a hit. You know, depending on the set, of course. And even then, it's just very, very threatening. Como is obviously a big one as well. Lucario that come to mind. But yeah, overall, fun Pokemon. I'm excited to use it later today. Of course, if you guys did enjoy or learn something, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. I'll be using this Pokemon later today in a Pokemon Showdown Live if you guys want to check that out. And if there's any set that you use on Arctovish, feel free to let me know. These are meant to be sort of not like a law, right? Oh, this is the only way to use Arctovish. No. I try to make them as basic as possible. I try to make the sets as straightforward as possible. But, I mean, if your damage calcs has showed, okay, this is a little bit better, running 40 special defense, that way you take 3 Dark Pulses from Inteleon or something, by all means, go for it. I just try to make these as basic and as, you know, easy to understand as possible. Though they're not always easy to understand, I know. I talk about tiers and you're probably like, what the hell is this guy talking about? But yeah, either way, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, my friends.